so excited.
Hi, everybody. So I have my 4 kids in the background, so we might have some interruptions from them as well. So just know that if you hear yelling, that's what's going on. So I'm here today to talk to you about food and nutrition. As we're saying, I have been a stay-at-home mom now for several years, and I continue to keep up my nutrition work on the side. I consult. But most importantly, I'm a mom of 4 amazing young kids, and I feel so blessed that my calling has really been to raise them and that I can still do nutrition on the side. So food, nutrition, and eating skills are really among the most important things that you can pass on to your kids. They need food to fuel their busy, successful lives, nutrition to nourish their strong bodies and smart brains, and eating skills to enjoy the social aspects of meals with family, and eventually when we can get together with friends again. In life, though, you can only have so many priorities, and I think that is really important to remember, that we provide meals for our family as a labor of love. It is not a contest. It's not a competition. There is no right or wrong way. So just know that if you are doing your best, you are doing right by your kids. I will tell you that I only have so many priorities. My children do not actually sleep in pajamas except occasionally on weekends because I don't have the time to do the wash. So we bathe them every night. They put on their clothes for the next day, and then they're ready to go. Some people think that's crazy, but that's what we do to make life work. So it's okay to make shortcuts. As a parent, you can help raise healthy eaters during these critical years by doing your best to do some really easy things. First of all, it's most important to serve regular, balanced meals and snacks throughout the day with a variety of nutrient foods. Now, I'm here to tell you, first and foremost, it's like the 80-20 rule, right? So if you provide healthy snacks 80% of the time, 20% of the time, that nutrition goes out the window, that's okay. There are no bad foods. There are no bad snacks. Just do your best to provide healthy nutrition as much as you can. In our house, I try to limit foods that we call sometimes foods, which are things like chips or cookies or candy, things with a lot of added sugar and salt that are not the best choices. And we don't avoid those things when we're out in public or kids are over at their friends' houses. I just make a point of not to keep them in the pantry at home so that when they're home and they're making choices, they have healthier choices to choose from. So the way that I kind of go about this is I think nutrient rich rather than good or bad foods. So I look at an apple and that's nutrient rich, right? It's got fiber, it's got phytonutrients, and then something like chips, it doesn't have as many, right? It's mostly fat and salt. It's not a lot of nutrient in it. So there are no good and bad foods, and I think that's a really, really important message that you want to get across to your kids, that they should never have bad feelings associated with eating food. There is nothing wrong with making different choices every once in a while, but most of the time we want to eat nutrient-rich foods, and that's important. So the majority of your choices should be packed with vitamins, minerals, fiber, and nutrients, and should be lower in calories. So like, for example, when you have the choice between fruit and juice, fruit would be the better choice because it has more nutrients than just juice does. And this will help you overall as a healthy eater to maintain your weight and live a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life, which if you can instill these things when kids are really little, that just sets them up for success in nutrition and eating for the rest of their lives, which I think is so important. Another thing that's really important is to not skip breakfast. Kids in particular learn better when they have had a healthy breakfast in the morning. And healthy breakfast doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be home cooked. In our house, we usually have a fruit and then something whole grain like cereal or toast, something easy, but it's important for them to have some type of nutrition before they get started learning in the morning. Another goal is to provide calm and pleasant meal times where adults and children can talk together. I think now more than ever, this is so important, and I think we also have more opportunities than ever. So in my family, my husband, fortunately right now, is working from home, but he works till late at night, and the kids and I wait until we can have dinner and sit down together as a family. And honestly, when you ask my kids what their favorite part of the day was, it's always when we all sit together and they can eat and chat with us. If my kids are starving in the late afternoon, they can have a fruit and a vegetable for a snack. I also give them a snack like crackers or something earlier in the afternoon, but if they're still starving before dinner, they can have a fruit and a vegetable, and it's a win for all of us. Then I don't have to fight them at dinner, and then they don't feel like they're deprived and can't have a snack when they're hungry. This is especially important with younger kids who don't eat as much and who often get tired later in the day. So if you can provide them with a healthier snack right before dinner, then if they don't eat as much during meal times, it's not as big of a deal. You also want to remove distractions during dinner, such as the television, the phone, or the tablets, so you guys can really focus on each other and pay attention to what's going on, and talk and have a conversation. According to parenting and health experts, eating together can have long-lasting benefits. It fosters family unity, it prevents behavior problems at home and school, it enhances academic success, it improves nutrition, and it can promote healthy weight for kids. With that impressive list of benefits, it's worth making the time and effort to enjoy more family meal times each week. Now, you don't have to eat every meal together as a family, and every meal doesn't have to be fancy. I think that's another important thing to really remember. You can look for easy ways to add a meal, and it can just be one meal a week is a goal to start with, where you all sit down together, parents and kids. And it doesn't have to be during the week. It can be on the weekends. It could be breakfast. It could be dinner. It could be lunch, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't really matter. Lots of different choices. And if making homemade meals seems challenging, you can also prepare meals on weekends and batch cook. I do that for my family, and it's a huge savings. I have lots of recipes that I've posted online. I'm happy to share that information with you later if you want it. And lots of easy things that you can do to help make more recipes, easy things during the weekend. Oops. So let's see. Before you know it, you'll all be eating meals together all the time once you start these simple steps. So another important thing when kids are eating is to allow them to use their internal signals to decide how much and what to eat. So when we serve dinner in our family, I request that my kids have one bite of everything that's on their plate. Some nutritionists will disagree with this. They say that you shouldn't force kids to eat anything. I don't really say force, but I have found with my own 4 kids and in my practice that I think it's important to encourage them to try and have a bite of everything, because you want to set healthy habits and not have them just eat easy foods all the time. But it also shouldn't be a battle. And if it comes to be a battle, then it's okay to step away and say, okay, maybe tonight's not the night to do that. Beyond that one bite, I let them stop when they're full. But if we're going to have a treat, which we usually do on weekends, I have them finish their fruits and vegetables. That's always our goal. And sometimes my kids decide that that eating their fruits and vegetables is not worth getting the treat. It's never fruit. It's always the vegetables. And that's fine too. If that's a decision they want to make, that's fine. It's not a good or bad decision. That's just their decision. So we also try and explore a variety of flavors and foods from different cultures and cuisines, but I don't kill myself to do that. Okay? So just don't stress yourself out about meal planning. For breakfast, I also, like I said, I offer plain fruit at breakfast, things like apples, pears, oranges, peaches, berries. It can be fresh or frozen. It doesn't matter. The nutrition's there in both of those. At lunch, I serve a plain fruit and vegetable like carrots, sweet potatoes, snap peas, bell peppers, and a plain fruit and vegetable again at dinner. So that way, I'm sure that my kids get lots of chances to eat lots of different fruits and vegetables at lots of different meals. And then it makes it easier for me because then all I have to do is focus on the main dish. I honestly almost never cook side dishes because it's extra work. So I just do really simple fresh fruits and vegetables that are cut up or frozen vegetables that I heat in the microwave. And that takes a lot of the stress away from me so I can focus on the main dish and not worry. Like I said, I only try and cook one new meal a week so that I'm not scrambling to find new recipes all the time. I have kind of an arsenal of favorite recipes that I love to cook and cookbooks that I know and I've gotten really familiar and know those recipes. And it also takes the challenge out of for my kids too, because they're not forced to try new things all the time. So they know the meals and they get to like them. I mean, we're talking easy things like spaghetti sauce. I have a couple different soups that the kids like, refried beans that I do in the Instapot. And it helps them too, because then they have control. They know that they like certain things. They're not always faced with something new, which can be really overwhelming for kids. They like to know what to expect and know that it's not going to be different all the time. So when choosing new recipes, I like to follow certain guidelines. I always try and emphasize fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat or fat-free milk and milk products. Children are recommended to intake fruit and vegetables like 1 cup a day for kids 1 to 3, and then 2 cups all the way up to 14 to 18-year-old boys. So the serving range ranges. So again, if you just keep offering it, don't get caught up in the actual serving sizes. Just keep offering it to your kids studies have shown that if kids are offered a variety of food every day, they will tend to get the nutrients that they need. So as long as you're offering it, they're probably going to be okay. You want to make sure also that kids don't drink a ton of juice, right? Fruit is always a better choice. Juice is not bad by any means, but I would limit it to 1 serving a day if you do choose to serve juice to your kids. In my family, we generally drink water and milk. They can have as much water as they want. When we're out, of course, my kids drink juice, but I don't generally serve it at home. I also look for recipes that include lean meats like poultry, fish, beans, eggs, and nuts. I minimize saturated fat and trans fats, especially, and salt and sugars. Some of my favorite cookbooks are Momables, Against All Grain, Realicious, and I also really like Real Simple. If my kids don't like something on the first pass, I always make sure to try it again. Kids are notorious for taking a long time to liking things. And even if I think about it myself, when I'm first shown something new, I don't always like it. I can tell you when I first tried salmon when I was younger, I hated it. And it took me a long time to develop the palate for it. And now it's actually one of my favorite foods. So don't give up just because your kids hate it. I can tell you, I know it's discouraging sometimes, but if it's something that you keep doing, it shows your kids, 1, resilience, and 2, it's no longer familiar or scary. So they're more likely to try it if you keep it up. We eat a variety of foods from all food groups to get the nutrients our bodies need. Like I said before, fruits and vegetables can be fresh or frozen. Frozen vegetables are picked right at the field and they're flash frozen, so the nutrition is still in there. So there should be no guilt associated with serving frozen fruits and vegetables, as long as you make sure to look at the labels and make sure there's not added sodium or sugar in them. We eat a lot of dark green vegetables, such as green beans and broccoli, and orange vegetables like carrots and sweet potatoes. I try and vary our protein choices, but keep them lean choices. Easy things for lunch, especially right now when your kids are with you all day. Things like yogurt, string cheese, hard-boiled eggs. I like to keep string cheese and tortillas and crackers around. So that's like my go-to lunch is carrot sticks, applesauce, and cheese and crackers, or tortillas and crackers is a quick lunch that I can get on the table fast and that's nutritious. We actually call that the Heneman quesadilla, and sometimes that shows up for dinner as well, and there's no shame in that. My kids are happy, they're well fed, and I get a little more time to snuggle them on hard days. So it's a win for everybody. You also want to share an appreciation for healthful food, lovingly prepared with others. So I try to get my kids to help in the kitchen on weekends. I think it's really important that you start getting them in the kitchen at a young age and that they start learning how to do things. Simple things like peeling and chopping and cutting. My kids grate cheese. They love to do it, and it's a really good skill, and it saves me cost-wise, and it keeps us from eating the preservative that's in pre-shredded cheese. Kids can also help with grocery shopping. I know a lot of you are probably like me and are online grocery shopping right now, but your kids can also help you. You can look at all the different fruits and vegetables, and they can select ones that they want to try. Maybe there's something new that they want to try. Encourage that. Let them pick out something and say, hey, I'm grocery shopping right now. Is there a new fruit or vegetable that you want to try? Why don't we look at the pictures and see if you find anything that looks good? When you get kids involved, they take ownership, and it's really exciting. And then as kids get older, they can actually help you meal plan, which is really exciting. You can let them pick a recipe that they want to try for that week, and they can find all the ingredients online. Of course, you want to double check. And then they can help you in the kitchen cook it, which I promise you that is super rewarding and empowering for your kids to be able to walk through all those steps on their own. Of course, you need to overshadow and guide them. I will warn you, sometimes it will be a total failure, and that's okay. So make sure to have that tortilla and string cheese as backups. We made a cake a couple weeks ago, and it was burnt to a crisp by the time I got out of the shower. But it was a great learning experience for my daughter. She learned about setting a timer and when to take things out. And it was a good learning experience, and now she's more encouraged to go on, and we let her try it again the next weekend, and she did a great job. It was perfect. So lots of things to be learned. You also want to talk about food safety with your kids. Right now, everyone's talking about hand washing, and that is really, really important in the kitchen as well. We still talk about it daily. When my kids wash their hands, we usually sing the ABCs. One of my favorite stories is about my daughter. When she was about 2 years old, we were shopping in a mall in San Diego, and we were in the bathroom, and a woman came out of the stalls and didn't wash her hands. And as we're walking out of the bathroom later, we're on an escalator, and my daughter sees the woman all the way across the halls up in the escalator and points to her and starts yelling, "Mom, that is the lady that didn't wash her hands." And the lady waves back and says, "Yep, I didn't. I'll do better next time." So Of course, you don't want to have something like that happen, but it is really good to instill that. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in other bathrooms in San Francisco and things, and people have been so impressed with my children's hand washing that they actually rewash their hands themselves even better. So it helps keep everybody healthier if your kids have good hand washing skills. You also want to teach basic skills about making positive food choices. Again, as I said before, you want to make sure that you tell your kids there are no good and bad foods. Foods are just foods, and we just do our best to make good choices as much of the time as we can. But we make different choices sometimes, and that's okay too. I am a huge fan of chocolate. I have chocolate every day, and sometimes I have more chocolate on weekends, and that's okay. When we have like a really big sugary treat though, sometimes I talk to my kids about it and see how they're feeling. Remember one time my oldest son had a end of the year party at school, and I think he had 3 bowls of ice cream, and the ice cream was like a little bit of ice cream and the rest was all candy. And he ate it and he loved it and he had so much fun with his friends, and then he got sick afterwards. And so we talked about it and we said, you know, this is a fun experience. I'm so glad you had a good time with your friends, but maybe we don't want to do this all the time, right? Because we don't want to feel bad or slow, not necessarily bad, but sick or slow after we eat things. So most of the time we want to make healthy choices, but food is fun and food should be enjoyed. So it's okay to really enjoy yourself with food sometimes. Here we go. So we also talk again about how no foods are off limits. Sometimes foods are on occasion, but everything is okay to eat. There's nothing that we shouldn't ever eat. And then finally, when you have questions about food or nutrition, you want to find credible resources. Like I said, I have an online site. You are welcome to always text or send me a chat and ask me a question, but you can also, a good reputable resource is www.eatright.org. That's the American Dietetic Association. They have a lot of great resources there, good nutrition facts. And you can also look at major hospital websites. Those are also really good sources of information. So things like the Mayo, the Children's Hospital Oakland, Stanford, anything with a .edu after it is usually a good source of accurate information. So while this might seem like some intimidating things, I promise you it's worth trying to make these few changes, especially if you have young kids at home. It's really important to start it now. And I can tell you, when I first met my husband, he only ate meat and potatoes, and now he eats lots of fruits and vegetables, including persimmons and asparagus. So it's worth a try. That's it for today. Thanks, ladies.